Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A very good, what is today? Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada Storage Expert Live, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Playa Alberta. Thank you to everyone for listening live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, watching on YouTube or listening on podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Shawn, Belle, Benny, the intern on the other side of the camera. Thank you again for everyone tuning in. As I said, the EST Angle presented by Sentinel Storage. Canada Storage experts more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transition. Canadian storage provider by Canadian. First 4 weeks free on all units. For more info on that, sentinel.ca. For those on the YouTube chat, there's this new like XP top fans thing. I have no idea what it is. It popped up yesterday during our free agency show. I wasn't even there at the start of it. And now there's a thing where you could be like a top fan with XP. And I don't know what it is.
What is even XP?
Experience points, usually.
Experience
points.
You
get little. You could get a little thing next to it.
This is exciting.
And then for me, because I think not everyone can see this, these are the top fans. I can see the top fans and the points they have right now.
Cool.
Benny was a top fan on during the free agency.
How do you become a top fan? Do you
that I have to figure out.
By typing in the chat. I think it's your top chatters. I think it's what it is. But.
Well, that could be annoying. The point if people start
spamming.
Yeah, just to get top chat. That could be a poor thing by YouTube. XP points. Let's see if I can figure this out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out too.
Where did they when did they even announce this? Oh, there was a beta release. That was a year ago though. XP points chat. But yeah, now you could, if you were on YouTube, another thing you do is on the pressing the thumbs up button. You could try to fight to be the top fan of the show, I guess. 1 month ago, I found it.
I better start my YouTube channel and get going here.
Yeah.
YouTube is testing a new feature that tracks viewer engagement on live streams using experience points and displays it on a leaderboard. Viewers earn experience points by sending chat messages, super chats, which we don't have, super stickers, which I don't think we have, and gifts where available during the stream, which again, we don't have. Yeah. So by chatting, the more you chat, you could change your positioning.
Oh boy!
So we'll see where you all are at once the show ends.
Yeah, I think it changes as the like
it would have to
for each show. Like it's not like an all time leaderboard. It's just like for each show.
It would have to be that.
That's why the nasty chat's just going off right now.
Yeah,
with nothing.
Is it crack-a-lackin'?
Yeah, we got click, nice.
Click.
Points me.
Yeah, quack.
Blueberry's life. This will be annoying, and that's where it's like, yeah, I think it might be if you're going just for the experience points. Yeah. But we'll see. Looks like it tops out at 75, though. That says El Presidente. So I guess other people can see the rankings because, yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of people at 75.
Hilarious.
So then it ranks somehow.
Light it up.
But there's something new for the YouTube folks that now there's experience points.
Yep.
And
let's go, nasties. Get after it.
I'll try to shout out the top fan at the end of the show. What YouTube claims is the top fan. Boys, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Hockey's done. So it feels kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's quiet.
Actually, yes.
It's quiet.
Yes. Well, hello,
Except
hockey.
for yesterday.
Yeah, hello, hockey is not done. We still have a few more weeks. We're happy hockey, apparently.
Podcast.
I've got shirts coming.
I love that. Oh, God.
Happy hockey.
Oh, that is hilarious.
I found a great place to do heat pressing for shirts.
Did you?
What? The library.
Jeez.
Straight up, the library downtown has free heat. If you have all the material, you can do free heat pressing there. You don't have to go buy a heat press.
How you figure this stuff out?
I was at the library on Saturday.
What were you getting at the library? Books?
I did get I got one cookbook.
It's such a sarcastic answer. Generally speaking, you get books at a library.
No, actually not that library. You can get so much. That library is actually, I don't know if you've ever been to the new, well, it's not new anymore, the downtown one. There's a lot of stuff for kids, but you can get video games, you can get DVDs, you can get CDs.
Exciting.
You could get vinyl records.
Wow.
You could go and look at newspapers, and there's just a whole bunch of workspaces and things. Like you could actually like go record. There's a massive studio recording if you want to go record you want to drop an album.
I might drop an album.
What if we collabed on an album and dropped it?
But
we should.
I will say as for me that answer though, what you'd get at look, I do appreciate that answer. Yeah. So thank you.
Okay, so we've got these T-shirts, and evidently you can heat press at the library. I know you could 3D print there.
There's a sewing area, there's a cooking area, there's You could, if you need to get your stuff from VHS to digital,
you can
they can do
digitize?
that there.
Wow.
Really? This
All
is
for the
more
library.
than a library.
You need to
This
pay
is
a little
library
bit for certain
plus.
services, but yeah, they have a lot of resources there. You could get newspapers online through there. You want, if you want to read
newspapers online, isn't that just called an app?
right, but you get access to it. If you want the Athletic, they do daily Athletic passes. If you ever find coming up an article in the Athletic, you're like, I need to do this. You can go through it through the library.
If you
It's
want the
amazing.
Athletic for $1, just threaten to cancel, and they'll offer it to you for $1 a month.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
Yeah,
that's happening.
That was how like they launched.
yeah.
I'm doing that.
That's what I did.
Right
They're
after
like,
the show.
Do you have?
We
I
don't
had-
want
I had
to
to-
go.
yeah.
It was good. It's still good. Like the writers that they have across all these are still really good. So it's good. It's a good resource to have. What?
The chat.
Oh god. Free agency yesterday was okay. So Benny was telling me Oilers fans were freaking out because basically when I finished my hit, I like tuned out. And
Thanks.
DB,
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like Reed and I were having a great quality
I watched
programming.
the show. I had it on, but
Yeah,
like,
but I tuned out. Didn't care what
Oh
Reed and
my
Matt had
God.
to say. As soon as I was done, I'm gone.
yeah, okay. So anyway, but like my brother, we were out for lunch, and DVD was with us, and he had his laptop. He was watching the show too, and he's like, "Man, Oilers fans are freaking out." And I was like, "Ah, that sounds about right."
There was no panic, was there?
Benny's like,
Never.
yeah.
Never.
That's I quote tweeted somebody going like tanking for McKenna or whatever the slogan.
Okay.
Including Dustin Nielsen's own producer was panicking a little bit on Twitter.
Yeah,
Well, he didn't have
Trev's emotional
that
though. He's got
part.
the roller
Yeah,
coaster going.
He's got the Oilers windows closed.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
That is the most
He put a
outrageous
gif
take.
of a window like closing a
with
window.
the most sad boy thing.
Yeah.
ever.
That is
Sad boy.
Yeah.
yeah.
How many beveraginos was he into when he said
quote
that?
tweeted the Mangiapane signing with a puking emoji.
I don't know why people are
Okay.
so upset about that signing.
Do you know why I actually would have preferred them not to sign him?
Tell me.
I would have rather gone into the season with 4.5 million in cap space. Because
Fair.
I love the idea of having cap space. I love having that when you go into the season. The flexibility gives you the ability to just do a lot of different. You can go get that player without that. Like Trent Frederick last year, they didn't need to do this in the end, which still annoys me. But they had to trade other pieces to get salary retention. You don't have to do that if you have cap space. You don't have to do that. And when I looked at that roster yesterday, it was good enough to me to be in a playoff spot by the deadline. It's good enough to be in that position where then, just like this year, just like other years, like you then go at that time or within once the calendar year flips or at different points of the season, if somebody shakes, you go make your move and boom, you can get it done. I'm just going to throw this one out there. Just, I don't know why they fully would do it, but also I kind of see why they would do it. But let's say the Islanders are going, we're really going for McKenna. Let's give up Sorokin. We're good. Boom. You have the cap space line. Let's just go get this done. That's where I just didn't like the Mangiapane deal was I would have rather had the extra cap space. I don't think you need to spend for the sake of spending.
Yeah,
if
that's
there's
fair,
not
but-
players there that you're going, this is an absolute home run easy. This could very much be Victor Arvidsson next year we're talking about.
No, because he's a harder player to play against. What part of the reason with him is that, he's a couple seasons removed from 35. So his usage was less than ever in Washington. His line mates aren't going to be as good as the ones he's going to have in Edmonton. And he's a hard player to play against. He's a pest. He's in your face. He's got speed. There's a lot of qualities that he adds to that hockey team that they missed and they lacked. I go into and I look at the guys that they lost. Connor Brown. Connor Brown was a good hockey player. He's got speed, but when things became extremely hard, what happened? He wasn't that big of a factor. That's a problem. Corey Perry obviously was one of their best forwards in the playoffs. You're going to miss him. That to me was a little bit of a tough one. Who else did they lose? They lost Skinner, they lost Arvidsson, and they lost Kane. Well, we don't really need to go into those. So you get a player that comes in and he may be a little bit smaller. I think he's 5'10", 5'11", but he plays with some bite and he has the ability to score. And you need players like that, especially if you want to continue, in the playoffs. And the team that's the team to beat is that. And so when I look at that trade, I say, okay, well, you put Jones in the minors, and now you have 1.9, I believe, cap space wise. Right? Does it occur over the course of the season? Can you make another trade? Can you open up and free? Let's say you, for whatever reason, they decide to trade Henrique. Now you have $5 million. So like that cap space is still there if you want it, because Henrique's still a good hockey player.
Yeah, but then you're replacing Henrique, one, and two, he's also got the protection that it's not going to be just an easy trade.
Which is fine, but
Where you had the money.
you can get guys to move them. Right?
Absolutely, but you sometimes.
But you're one step closer now to having that one piece to get over the hump. Right?
Sure.
If you don't have Mangiapane, or if you don't go get another guy that's like a quality depth player, you're now 2 or 3 players away from becoming what you need to ultimately beat the Florida Panthers. So you have to get as close as you possibly can with trying to keep cap space, seeing what you have in the minors or guys that are depth pieces coming up, and then go from there.
Yeah, but it's like if I'm Stan Bowman or Jeff Jackson, I'd have confidence I can get that extra piece. Like I need, let's say, 3 pieces. Okay, now I need 2. I would have confidence in myself that I can do 3 during a season. I don't need.
Does that $4 million that we would have saved get you 3 pieces that are quality enough to get over the hump?
I think if by you're recurring that cap space by the time of the deadline, that's quite a bit.
Well, what's a good piece? Are you looking for a guy that can play with Draisaitl? Because that's at least a $4 to $5 million player.
Sure, but the one question for that also is going to come up is what is Matthew Savoy?
Well,
You want to know something? What if
exactly
he comes out
yeah.
and he becomes the player people want him to be? Now,
Penner's Pancake actually said, he goes, if you send Tomsick now because he doesn't make it, now you're at 3.1.
David Tomasek?
Now you're at 3.1. So that cap space there.
Well, and then look, I'm not ripping the Mangiapane deal in a sense that I'm like furious, like how dare they? Like
Yeah.
I just would have preferred. I was okay. I was comfortable if they didn't do anything yesterday.
Fair.
I was comfortable walking away from that, going, if this is the roster going into the season,
Yep.
I'm more than okay with that for what the Oilers then are going to go do next year. People wanted them to do more though yesterday. I just don't know what.
Well, I mean, we saw last year they went out and they tried to make home run swings, and those didn't work out. Like I thought they made a sound, safe play in getting a quality depth player, and then they're just going to let the rest percolate over the course of summer. Maybe there's going to be some trades. You never know.
You know what's funny is I didn't really hear Henrique being traded outside of some rumblings like from others, but like every time I talk to people with
Nothing
the
with
team,
him.
I was like,
Yeah,
no, that's not happening.
I think that's a media-driven one, the Henrique one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but yeah, outside of that, it was like, I was told, somebody actually texted me and they're like, hey, like, why are people saying his name's out there?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, because he didn't have a good year and he cost you $3 million.
Yeah.
But the Arvidsson thing we knew about, I told you guys like the night before. And then Besser, that's a funny one. When the deal was signed, I just started getting an onslaught of texts. They're like, this didn't age well. This didn't age well to Pegs and what he had to say on Hello Hockey because it was a happy show. And I mean, we talked to Dave and we're like, you sure? And he's like, yeah, man, this is the truth. This is what I know. And you were even saying before we hopped on today, like Frank validated basically what Dave was saying.
Yeah.
And I had someone call while we were doing the hit on the show yesterday, which was excellent. And then I called them back and I was like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, Vancouver stepped up with an extra 10 mil like at the last second. He was ready to leave. And then Pegs told us that
I think,
too. Yeah.
Frank basically said this was a relationship that needed repairing, and maybe it took an offer like this to get it done. And so then when we were talking last night, I made the joke, 50 sheets would make me stay too.
Yep. Well, and I think his girlfriend or wife or whatever.
She's from
Van.
No.
That's another thing that was said. But yeah, it was like $50 million to get Besser, and I think we're told Van came in at like 40, and then at the last second, propped it up, got him. So that what Dave said was fair, and yeah, it's like, hey, people are coming after us, and we're like, we didn't say it, Dave did. We were listening. We asked the question. It is funny though. People get all twisted up in that stuff, and that's part of the fun.
Absolutely.
It's all speculation, right? Until something's on paper, it's all speculation.
And I don't know. Last year the Oilers did very well, as you pointed out, Bellsy. Didn't pan out.
Yep.
Preds were the winners last year.
Yep.
30th place.
We saw their season this year. So, and it's like, okay, I saw a lot of people, well, they lose these players, they lose this player. Like, with the deal Corey Perry signed, would have you been happy with that? Anyone?
No.
If Connor Brown signed that deal that he signed with the Devils here in Edmonton, would have anyone been happy?
I was very surprised with that deal. No, people would freak out.
I didn't even see the deal what Klingberg got. I just know he went to San Jose.
$4 million.
Okay. Would have people been happy with Klingberg?
No.
So like I saw these people like, you're losing this guy, and not bringing anyone. Okay, well, one, you're losing those guys, but did you want to keep them at the price that you're seeing?
Not a chance.
And in the end, like, and this is where it was funny just watching some people with the full doom and gloom is, okay, last time I checked, Connor McDavid's still an Oiler next year. Mm-hmm. Last time I checked, Leon Draisaitl's still an Oiler next year.
That is correct.
Zach Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, we'll see health-wise, but Ekholm, Nurse, Kulak. Like, the makeup, the core makeup of this roster that has gone to 2 straight Cup finals.
It's still there.
It's still there last time I checked.
That's still a good team. Is it a Cup winner? No, I don't think so, but.
No, and that's where, like... They had to go pay Bouchard. They had to go pay Draisaitl. They're going to have to go pay McDavid. What else could have really fully been? Now, I know Breed brought up, like, it's the Nurse one. But beyond that, like, it's one contract's not hampering you that much. Like, what, $2 million is going to change everything?
No.
If he was a $7.25 million defenseman?
No.
I like this. Dr. John texting in, Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. I'm not sure if Tommy hates Tomasek more or YouTube Trev hates Mangiapane more. Just to clarify, I don't dislike Tomasek. I hate the idea of going to Europe and getting a guy that's never played in the NHL before, guaranteeing him a spot and money, and really it's a question mark. I don't like that principle. And in my experiences over the years that they've gone to Finland mostly and signed obscure Finns that did nothing when they came here because they thought they got the leg up on the rest of the league. That's what this feels like to me. I have nothing against the player. I just don't like the principle of and the idea of going and getting a guy that's 29 years old and guaranteeing him a spot on the team and on the roster next year. And you're like, well, what is this guy?
I'm sure you would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And he could be a very good player. But I just don't like that principle. So just to clarify, I like Dr. John is the only one that brought that up. Some people were saying it on Monday on the Oil Stream, and I'm like, well, I get it. I don't hate. I just think it's silly.
I hate that idea. Like it's the same as yesterday. Where the Flames got the goalie from the KHL who's doing great. Had 24 NHL games. Yeah. Like okay, cool. This guy's gonna be the guy,
right? Yeah. What are you smarter than everybody? Is that what you're doing?
Like he could be just I played for the team that he played for, so I'm well versed in the style that they play. I mean, him putting up 50, I think he had 54 points last year in a league that's ultra defensive, showcases the fact that he actually has some playmaking ability and some scoring touch. Yeah. He's big. I think he's 6'2". So could he be a guy? Does he have speed? Like, could he be a guy that comes in and as a fourth liner is just productive, right? On a fairly cheap deal. I think that's what they're trying to swing for, and that's what they're hoping for, because he did say, like, we got to get younger. And you do. Yep. You had to get younger. You couldn't be the oldest team again. So maybe that's what he's swinging for. Maybe it's not hey, this is going to be a guy that's, playing next to Leon Draisaitl.
Right. Well,
but could he be a guy that 13th forward? Could he be on my fourth line? Could he just be a guy that, puts up 25 points, 30 points?
See, if he does for what is like 1 point something million, that would be okay. I think that would be a victory. But I remember too talking to some people. I'm like, well, what is the what's the deal with this guy? And they're like, well, imagine Roman Cervenka. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, Roman Cervenka with the Flames. Cervenka had 17 points in 39 games with Calgary 10 years ago. And then went back to his 1 year in North America. And I'm like, that's good? That's what we went and got the new version of Roman Cervenka? Okay.
It's a cool name to say.
That's a fun name to say.
It's a cool name.
Yeah. This is Hangout Headlines brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time today by visiting theranchgolf.com. Less than a week today Next Tuesday, we will be there as Edmonton Sports Talk, as it will be the EST Golf Classic presented by Play Alberta. I don't know if the forecast will change as it does. I got something from Clausen a couple days ago. It's changed right now, according to Environment Canada. Right now, sunny and 28.
Yeah, saw that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited.
it's going to be a nice day. Except, like, as it like really kicks up. Like, I think when we're golfing, like by the time we're done, it'll be about like 25 or so.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's like not. Last year we were in the 30s, but book your tee time. Ranchgolf.com. Did you guys like what Ken Holland was doing yesterday? A lot of people are looking at what he was doing.
I was listening to Wyshynski with the boys on the morning show, and I was kind of giggling. He just went and found Oilers from a couple of years ago and brought them back. That is funny, but like LA, I thought, and watching them this year throughout the regular season, they didn't really drop off, and then they gave Edmonton, an early startle, if you will. Yep. It was kind of woke up, obviously. But I did think Ken Holland had a great opportunity to put that team over the top. And I thought, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt and credit, that he'd be able to find the right guys to just get that Kings team where it needed to get over the hump against the Oilers or whoever in the Western Conference. They got old. They got old.
Well,
Go ahead.
They started getting old in the front office because Ken Holland's an older gentleman.
Well, he doesn't
start
invest
there.
in green bananas.
The funniest thing I've seen, there was a meme that came out.
Okay.
And it's Cody Cece's agent. We're looking at 4 years, and we want $4 million for that. Ken Holland, I don't know about $4 million a year. Cody Cece's agent thinking, holy blank, he thinks I mean per year. Ken Holland, would you do 4.5 million?
Listen.
Man.
And Cece's he's a serviceable defenseman. But he's what, 31, 32 now?
31.
Yeah, like he's a 4, 5, 6. Some slide up and down around there. Yeah, I don't.
$4.5 million for him on a 4-year deal, and then Dublin's deal too with him is just equally.
Hey,
bad.
he believes in veteran players, and
I
he is
guess.
showcasing that.
Guess. And then they
big
lose
time.
their probably, in my opinion, their best defenseman.
I was surprised he wouldn't
I think they got
re-sign with
worse.
Yeah,
But they tried on him.
yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like they didn't try to re-sign Gavrikov. It's like he couldn't get that one done. That was that one. But he got Joel Armia.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sick. Great signing.
Yeah.
And it's still not enough to get past the Oilers, in my opinion.
No.
Even with the roster.
The only thing
with
they
the
have
rosters they
going
have.
for them is they got Corey Perry. And the reason I say that is the history of him getting to Cup Finals.
Yeah.
That's the only, I'm going to
That history's about to be over.
I know that's the only thing. 5 or 6 years. That's the only thing I can give the LA Kings right now is that they got the Corey Perry juice for them to get them to a Cup final based on that history. That's it. That's all I can go. With.
It is kind of amusing.
It's an interesting move for me though, just for like Kings having to go up against Corey Perry, not just with the Oilers the last couple of years, but the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and now this guy you've booed for his whole career.
And now you got to cheer for him.
Now he's on your side.
That is funny.
But the Pacific Division will be an interesting one for the Oilers just because it's Corey Perry on one side against the Kings, and against the Canucks it is Evander Kane. Like these two guys that were your pests for the last number of years, your agitators, are now going to try to do it to you.
But you have 2 new agitators in Edmonton, in Mangiapane and Frederick.
Yeah.
Is that enough? Like to replace
I think
what they lost?
I think they need to get one more guy that has a little bit of size and some sandpaper.
I like jam. I like
A
that
little
word.
truculence.
Truculence, gusto. Yeah, but I like that. Yeah, go get one more guy that's kind of a
little
a-hole
je ne
to play.
sais quoi.
Oh, I say quoi. Jam.
Jam.
Truculence. I like that. Again, like, I know people get emotional. They see what other teams, pick up and stuff like that. On July 1st is July 1st. This team, the lineup that you have October or whatever the first day of the season is, October 5th or whatever, compared to the way it ends is different. It evolves. It takes time. Things happen. Injuries occur. And,
this year
it's just interesting. I just find it. I'm amused by like people getting upset.
Jake Wallman, Trent Frederick. Am I missing anyone that was around the deadline, or was it just those two?
Well, Klingberg came in like late January. His
Klingberg.
first game was January 30th.
Evander Kane back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like from opening night to as they headed into that trade deadline window to opening day of the playoffs, different roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to see here with the Oilers. Look, in a bad way, we didn't see the Holloway Broberg last summer.
Right.
Who's to say there won't be some sort of surprise thing that happens again this summer? Just in hockey in general, like where there's all of a sudden that one move that you're like, oh, where's this coming from? I thought everyone was out at the cabin or at the cottage.
Yeah.
But somebody was up making that move. So there's a lot to happen, a lot to change now. And this free agency core just also wasn't sexy
No.
that way. And when you're a good hockey team, other teams want your players. They want, and those players want to go get paid. And the one thing that makes it tough in the cap era is keeping everyone around, because some other team's going to sit there and be like, we're going to give you more money.
Unless you're Florida.
That was
I had to put that in.
No, absolutely. But they lost players last year. We went through the roster after the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
They lost players last year.
Yep.
And from this year, they'll lose again. Like they find a way to keep more of their big names than anyone else. I would
they
say
keep their core.
Yes,
But their
the edges.
depth, the edges they replace.
which is what the Oilers are at largely.
It's exactly what it is.
But the Florida, and this is where I could see the advantage of the tax, is that you get the Ekblad $2 million less.
Yeah.
You didn't get the $2 million less for Bouchard.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's those that's where they can add that extra big core player. I think when it adds up.
And this is just me just spitballing at this point. Is that more of a culture thing? Because I look at Pittsburgh did it. Right? With Crosby, what the money he took, Letang, Malkin, the money that those guys took.
I'm just saying, but they had to get rid of Jordan Staal.
Fair enough. And then they still won.
I know, but they had to get rid of a big player.
Okay, fair. Pittsburgh did it. Tampa did it for a long time.
Chicago.
Chicago until they signed both those guys for 10. And now Florida's doing it. And all those teams won lots.
Keeping core, we're talking here.
Keeping
I'll
core.
throw LA into that mix. They won 2 cups in 3 years or whatever it was.
But all those guys took a little bit less so that they could fill their roster with quality players.
Yeah.
And so you look at our situation here in Edmonton. Hey, Connor's worth every dollar he can get.
He's worth more than what he'll get.
100%. But does he take a little bit less?
He did last time.
Dry, he took a little bit less. Maybe.
But he had
Boosh, does he take a little bit
on
less?
the first deal.
Like,
I don't think Boosh took less.
I don't think he did either.
No.
So
I think there's a mix here. I don't think it's one. I don't think you could just look at the Florida Panthers and say it's all state tax. This is only because of state tax. Does that play part of it? Of course it does. No one could say that it doesn't play part of it. I think culture, though, plays a part of it. I think going for the three-peat plays a part of this. Like, that's a legacy
I think the
thing right
fact
there.
that they're, minutes from the water,
The location.
how nice it is every single day. Their
lack of
practice,
pressure.
their practice facility is off the charts nice. They take golf carts to their practice
That would
facility.
be so awesome. Did you go to it when you were down there?
No. No, I wasn't in any condition to do that.
Apparently it was awesome.
But
But all adds
like
up.
just, even we went to a terrible rink there. Terrible. It was half an hour. It was awful.
Everything's
awful rink.
half an hour there. It sucks.
And even just the fact that like you walk in, it's hot as hell outside, you cool down inside, you go back out and it's just scorching again. You're like, man, this is nice. And so even in the wintertime when it gets down to, I don't know,
20,
20,
22.
still nice. I don't know. It's just a factor. It's the same like Tampa. But here the other piece of that puzzle is Florida was junk for a long time.
It was a hockey wasteland. I remember being at that building at 7,000 people in it. You're like, this is awful.
Yeah.
That was like
And
2015 or 16.
they came in and they built their team, whether it was through draft or through trades or whatever. It was a lot of trades.
It was a lot of
but-
both. It's not a lot of signings. That's
It's
the
not
one thing.
a
It's
ton of
not a lot of free agent signings.
Yeah. And so then you build this culture of guys that are, really solid players. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great city. All of a sudden, people don't want to leave.
No.
That's what it is. And it's no different than the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, nobody wants to leave there. And if you leave, you want to go back. Those are factors.
I agree. But there is also a little bit of, I get an extra 1.5 million with this deal or whatever. Perfect. I can take less because I'm still, if I sign there, I'd be making this money anyways. So that does play into this to me as well, but not fully. And I don't believe it's enough to. I don't care about the rules. I don't want to make rule changes to this.
I don't want to make rule changes
parity.
either. To me, it's just like, hey,
There's advantages in
be
everyone.
creative in what you need to do. And if you feel like you have a strong program, then as a GM, president, owner, you got to go out and sell that to players.
I don't need 100% parity in my sports.
Yeah.
There's advantages, there's disadvantages. When Florida's bad, it's real bad.
Yep. And you got to give credit to Bill Zito and what he's done and how he's been able to create what they have there, the team that they have there. And so it can't be everybody just saying like, and trust me, there is factors of the state tax. There is, but it can't be the number one argument every single time when like,
well, they got the perfect,
Ekblad.
yeah, they got a perfect scenario because it's one, some people like, I think the biggest argument for free agency we have a conversation about with players is, are they in it for the money or are they in it to win? Well, right now with Florida, it's both.
Yeah. You
can get the money and you could win. Like, and if you're wanting to win, like you look at that team and right now, if you're the Panthers after this season, especially, you have to sit there, I would assume, and be like, who's beating us?
Well, and that's the thing.
Like we've got a three-peat on our hands here because who is the Oilers is our closest competition.
They got worse.
We just took care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're getting worse.
Yeah.
Who's going to challenge us? The Leafs?
Not anymore.
No, and and that's part of my point is like, okay, Ekblad, he gets what? He got 6.1? No.
6.1, yeah.
Yeah, 6.1. Okay, so you've been there for what? 10, 12 years? Almost 15 years? Mm-hmm. You've got roots.
Same age as Draisaitl.
I know, but it just feels so old.
I know.
Yeah. So he's got roots there. He doesn't want to uproot that. All of his buddies are on that team. They just won. Actually, they didn't just win. They just dominated everybody. You have a chance for a true dynasty. Or you could go to the Leafs.
Deal with
and
that
just deal
BS.
with that garbage every single night where it's like, oh man, I had a bad day. And then you just get eviscerated by that media.
What did Peg
until
say?
you have a good day.
What did Peg say? Somebody, like, they found Marner's house and they were, like, throwing rocks at it and stuff like that.
That.
Yeah, like...
Or I could be down in Fort Lauderdale and nobody's going to talk to me. I can do what I need to do. I have an unbelievable team.
Making $6 million.
Flip-flops and golf carts to practice.
Making 6 sheets a year. And I'm good.
And the one reason I also don't want to change to the state tax thing too is when the Panthers get bad again, which will happen, we ain't going to have this discussion.
That's true.
We're not going to talk about the state tax when these teams are bad because we only talk about it when they're good. Mm-hmm. The Panthers had a state tax advantage for a long time.
So did Nashville.
And they weren't good.
So does Seattle. So does
Seattle does
Vegas.
have it. No one talks about this. Seattle's not grabbing those players.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seattle's not convincing people to come up. And that's a beautiful part of the country as well.
Yep.
That's a beautiful area to live.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're
I'm
not
not sure
grabbing the people.
I'm not sure Seattle knows what it's doing either. To be quite honest with you.
Texas has the same, right? They don't have
Texas,
state tax.
yeah.
Nashville's one. And like people, hey, Nashville, they dominated free agency last year. And look how that worked out.
Yeah.
Like it's...
You need to be good at your job too with the state tax.
Yep.
In order to capitalize on it.
Yep.
And they come up like if you do, there's other advantages in different ways. The Canadian cities do get paid in American dollars in Canada.
Yep.
And you live in Canadian dollars, and that exchange right now is amazing for that conversion for you. There's an advantage to that.
Does Puckpedia have the USD to CAD conversion like Puck Friendly did? Or Cap Friendly did?
I don't know.
Cap Friendly, like it was like dollar in what, and you'd click on CAD and see all the numbers these guys make. You're like, oh my God. An $8 million guy is an $11 million guy. You're like,
USD to CAD right now. So Bush, he's getting over 14 million Canadian
not bad.
for next year.
Not
So
bad.
like that, there is that advantage in a sense to that and stuff. So it's just like, I don't want to rule for this because do we just want full parity here?
I don't want parity.
Like, do we want everything to be the exact same? Then why don't we just rotate first overall picks? We just slowly
It's your
go-
year.
It's your year this year,
Congrats.
and then so we could carry that through. Like everything should just be equal.
Yeah, no.
Boring.
Like that's the thing. Like, and here's the problem too that the NHL is going to face with their fans. If you like, as they expand, your team has less shot of winning the cup. Becomes tougher to win the cup.
Yep.
Reed Wilkins.
And the owners don't care because the owners are making a lot of money.
Yep.
Reed's in on the Bowman call. Reed text says, Bowman. Oh, just had it. Bowman says, internal solution for final top spot in top 6. Savoy, Tomasek, Kapanen, Henrique mentioned as possibilities.
Can you say that all again?
Bowman says, internal solution for final top spot in top 6.
The top 6.
Yeah. Savoy,
Okay.
Tomasek, Kapanen, Henrique mentioned as possibilities.
The middle 2 are very interesting ones.
Yeah. Pod Colson?
Well, I think he's slotted in.
No, Mangiapane is now.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you got Mangiapane,
Yeah.
Dry, and my prediction, Savoy.
Well, yeah.
You can't like
You can't bring
You
him up
can't-
here and
yeah,
throw him on the
exactly.
4th line.
that was my biggest pet peeve when I played, and I watched guys go up that were just lighting it up. Alex Giroux.
Great American hockey league
prime example.
Yeah.
Great
he
American
was
hockey league
such a skilled player in the American Hockey League. He dominated games. He'd go play in the NHL, and they put him on the 4th line. Like, he doesn't have that grit that you want, or the game at that time was ultra physical. He didn't have that in his bag.
He's a big guy, too.
He was a big guy, but that wasn't his jam. His jam was all about skill, finesse.
Great shot.
Great shot. So why wouldn't you put him in your top 6 or your top 9 and say, hey, try to produce some points? But no, you're going to go put him with, like, I love you, Steve McIntyre, but you're going to go play with Steve McIntyre because that's going to do something. I love you, Steve. Don't hurt me.
Please don't hurt us. We love you, Steve. Steve is a big man.
Yeah.
Valid point. I remember when he would get called. I think he did score a goal or 2 when he got called up. But yeah, he had a 30-goal year that year.
Or Jean-Francois Jacques. You're going to go play with him. And once again,
Jacques.
me and JF are buddies. But, like, that's the guy that you're going to put Drew with after he's just been dominating in the AHL as a skilled player.
Pat Quinn had JF Jacques on the power play and top line at one point.
How'd
They
that
almost
work
finished
out?
30th that year.
Yeah, because he wanted toughness on every line. Wanted to have one tough player on every line, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. That's where that came from.
Yeah, that team was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good. No. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Yeah, but I don't. Just the idea that they're thinking Janmark or like that in the top 6. Like,
No, he didn't say
Kapanen.
Janmark.
Oh, Kapanen. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kapanen. This
Yeah.
is like a.
I like this text. Kapanen in top 6. Fireable offense. WTF. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had decent stretches in the playoffs with Dry, but yeah, it was for the most part no.
Yeah.
You like that was one of the problems there was if you're having Captain or Perry on the top line, you got an issue. Mm-hmm. So
One of the big things from yesterday that came up that hurt the Oilers, Glenn Gulutzan to Dallas.
Yeah, it's tough.
How big is the coaching staff? Question marks right now going into this, because what is this staff going to look like, and how many changes can you get away with, or need to make? Type like, it's never bad to make changes on a coaching staff, but do you want to do wholesale changes?
I don't know.
I think the
Because you got to replace at least one. There's a lot of talk that there'll be a change of goaltending coach too, so we'll just throw that one out there. You then still have Mark Stewart and you still have Paul Coffey. Do you want to change 3 coaches? Do you want to change all 4 coaches?
I think
Like,
they're going to.
all 4.
Well,
I think you need some sort of continuity with Chris Knobloch on that bench in some way, or in that room.
So Coffey was the defensive coach. I use that.
Yes.
Stewart was a PK. Gulutzan was power play.
Forwards and power play.
Power play. What would be the biggest thing that plagued the outside of the obvious answer, which everybody's going to say is goaltending? What was the biggest thing that they needed help with? To me, it was their D.
Yeah.
So if for whatever odd reason they decide they're like Coffey doesn't want to stay on the bench, they need to go find a guy that's like, a defensive-minded.
That's Mark Stewart, though. He's already there. He's the X's and O's guy.
I would like to see
Their
Mark
X's and O's in terms of defensive side wasn't very good.
No, it was not. That's fair.
So if Mark Stewart's a guy, then they need to give him more of the reins. And to me, it's like it's a bit of a Coffey's the guy that everything goes through, and then he kind of gets this over here.
He's kind of the boss too. Which is
I get that. So then be the boss up there and allow Mark Stewart to like flourish more. Then if he's the X and O guys, then you got to allow him to be better.
A Chris Knobloch, Mark Stewart coaching staff, I'm good with going into next season, and then fill out the Gulutzan, replace the Coffey, replace the Dustin Schwartz. To me, that's a good amount of change.
Yeah.
While keeping some, I think, stable pieces. I wouldn't want to see Gulutzan and Stewart both gone.
Yeah.
I think that's just more impactful, potentially in a negative way than the Coffey one. Because Coffey would still be around the organization. Like,
he's
for
not
some of the
going
things
anywhere,
you need,
yeah.
like you could have him come by, like, just home games or something. Have him stop by if you need him to do some of those things. But for the team, I'd like to see Chris Knobloch and Mark Stewart. But I think that's a big question going into the season is what is this coaching staff going to look like next year?
You know what they haven't had in a long time? The eye in the sky.
Well,
Or was Schwartzy doing that?
no.
Or Peltz?
Well, yeah, I guess Dave was, but like,
Or was that video coach?
and Parcati's up there too.
But like whoever's saying challenge this, are they not kind of the eye in the sky in a degree?
No, that's just a video guy.
Seagull.
Because like I saw Wardo up there when they were playing Vegas. Wardo was up for one period,
and then he goes
down and he's on the bench.
Yeah.
Right? Just different vantage point. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I remember the Oilers used to have that. Herbers was that guy for a while.
Yeah.
Rob Dahm was that guy for a while.
Rocky Thompson did
Rocky
it briefly.
Thompson. It just gives you a different perspective, right? When you're up there for a period, maybe 2 periods, and you come down, there's some adjustments that you can see because the guys that are on the bench, you're right in the action, you're right in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they haven't had that guy for a while, unless one of those other guys.
I feel it. Yeah, I would, because those guys go down to the room right after every period's over, down in the intermission.
Yeah.
Like they're up and down. I think they still have that. I would assume that's how they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Reed also adding this. Bowman said that Bouchard's camp was never interested in pursuing an 8-year deal.
Interesting.
I get it. I believe that's where I thought this a number of years ago. I would, if I was a star player,
I'd never sign 8 years.
I would not want to sign 8 years. I get the certainty of knowing injury or whatever. Like I've got that money.
Yeah.
But I would also just believe, like, you want to know something? This cap, it's shooting up. It's going up. One, I don't want to be Nathan McKinnon or Leon Draisaitl locked in a deal that I know for 3 more years or 2 more years. I'm being severely underpaid. And two, and especially in the last couple of years, you're seeing this cap and you know this cap is shooting up. I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
I want a piece of that. So
The
4
only,
years
the only
from
way
now,
the only way that the 8-year mark kicks in is if the guy's like, you know what, I'm going to stay at this number. I'm okay with that number because I want to help my team win. That's the only reason you get that 8.
and I get that from a Leon and a Connor, and in that perspective, also like, hey, we're going to help the team out. We're going to make money, especially Connor. I'm probably making a lot of money with endorsements. I could balance out the stuff that I'm going to lose. This is for the team. But yeah, like if I'm like, what is Bouchard going to be a $14 million player the next contract or something like that?
I hope so.
Like that's the thing. Like, but with the cap shooting up, that's pretty equivalent almost to a $10 million type thing at that time, right? Like, but that's where I'm like, oh well, why would I go 8 years and miss out on that extra? What is that? $16 million I might be able to make if things go well, and I'm going to bet on myself. I quickly want to just roll through a couple of pieces of news before we continue here. We will get to this later. The CFL unveiling negotiation list, the entire negotiation list for the first time in CFL history. It is now going to be completely open. All 45 players on all their teams. That will be open. Canadian Jonathan David, it looks like, is making his move to Juventus.
Oh.
So a historic club out in Italy, a Canadian will now be part of them. So you got the Canadian with an our boy at Bayern in Germany. David, it's verbal agreement. Fabrizio Romano, for those that know in soccer, he is the Bobby Mack of this world. Shout out to Bob McKenzie.
Yes.
For, going from semi-retirement to fully retirement.
Yep.
I'll never forget, there was a year, this was the expansion draft year, I think, like after that. Expansion draft happened. Frank broke everything.
Oh yeah.
That following draft, it was like Bob McKenzie like wanted to clear his throat. Like, I'm still the best. Because he broke every pick.
Yeah.
For like 15 picks, and he's like, I'm done. I'm see you guys. But it was like he just was like, I'm still the Bob father.
Yeah.
And then there was another piece of info I wanted to throw out there. Did I miss it?
By the way, the
from
league
Chris Johnston. Nikolai Ehlers now down to a few teams. He's deciding between the expectations that his decision will be made at some point today. So the last big free agent is out there, and we'll see what happens. Winnipeg very much sitting tightly today.
I'm also seeing a lot of buzz around Isaac Howard.
Yeah, I haven't seen that from anyone legit fully.
Yeah.
Going where?
To Edmonton.
Here.
Interesting.
That's one where it's like I will wait to see until someone else,
that's
a
sweet.
bigger name.
We asked Dave about that on Saturday, and he was just like, I don't know.
I don't know if you Lakers just signed Damian Lillard.
Dame.
Seriously?
No. God damn it.
Did you get sent out? You got sent
Not Sentinel.
Nice.
You and Bellsy now, the first two, number two.
I'm off the spotlight now.
For those that don't know,
Yes.
there's an NBA account, NBA Central, which posts things, but then there's another one, NBA Central, that posts fake stuff. And Bellsy got caught with that.
Who's their
weeks
lead
ago.
insider in the NBA?
Sham.
So yeah, this guy's account was Scam Charnia or whatever.
Oh, God. you got
The
Frank
parody
Sarah.
account thing didn't pop up until after I clicked on it. So
Because he's got a torn Achilles.
yeah.
So I was going to be like, why would they just want his rights or something? But yeah, okay. Good job, Benny.
Yeah.
Sentineled.
I just wanted to say, when Frank ruined that expansion draft, the league was pissed.
I'd imagine.
Pissed.
That's a free agent I'm looking to see who signs with. Frank
Frank.
Cervalli. Where's he signing?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
Sports
As of
Frank-
yesterday, he's now no longer with Daily Faceoff.
What if he went back to TSN because they have new leadership and stuff?
They brought Chris
Montgomery's
Johnson.
good. Yeah, they've got CJ there and Dregs. That's a
And
good point.
Bill LeBron.
And Pierre, yeah. Oh, ESPN, maybe.
ESPN would be one. I wonder if TNT wants to do things.
Frank's been doing a lot of sports and that stuff. I didn't bother to ask him when he was here. But I don't know. Frank does whatever Frank wants.
Yeah.
He's good. Really good. I don't know. I don't know anything about that Isaac Howard. We asked Dave about him, and Dave's like, didn't seem to really care.
Yeah.
I think Tampa was really high on that kid.
He is.
Won the Hobie Baker.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I would he's one of the higher end prospects in the NHL right
Or
now.
the Heisman, as Benny put it.
Yeah.
Off air. Actually, I call it the Heisman. But he's a guy that has a lot of flair, in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember at the draft, he wore an all white suit
Nice.
and called him Iceman. He's got a lot of personality, but also just like very highly skilled, and he doesn't like his chances of making an impact in Tampa. And I could see why it makes sense for the Oilers. They want to get younger, fill up the prospect pool a little bit, and like he's a guy that would play in the NHL next year. So get younger faster.
Yeah,
it would make sense, but we'll see.
It'd be a good fit there.
It'd be a really good fit. I don't know. Nothing's been credible. No one credible has said anything on Twitter. But apparently some people are saying Frank Cervalli has talked about it.
Yeah, I saw something where he said Frank at some point this week that Hauser's camp thought he was an Oiler and the Oilers thought the deal was done, but it still hasn't come to fruition. And the thing was the Oilers offered was maybe a late first rounder. That's 2027 first rounder then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about trading that first rounder before a season. Because then what do you have at a trade deadline?
Not much.
You're out the next 2 first round picks.
Yep.
Like, unless it's Sam O'Reilly you'd have to trade type thing. Like, you don't have a lot to go do to now then go attack the trade deadline market. So with that cap space you'd have, and that would make it a little bit different than if, from my point, we're bringing cap space. But if you bring in cap space, if you have nothing to trade, you're not getting it.
How do you give up a late first rounder for a guy that you know is not going there?
Yeah, but I think it's because you're bidding against other teams. I think it's what it is.
Yeah, but you don't want to get fleeced on the deal either.
No.
That was the Duncan
I personally
Keith
think it's
Yeah.
worth it just because it's a young guy that's ready to play in the NHL.
Yeah, 'cause he's what, 20, 21?
He's 20. I think he's 21 years old, and
Yeah.
he would be signing his ELC here for the first year. So you have 3 years of him at basically league minimum.
Yeah, I get that.
That could be a guy, especially in the year 3. That deal could be very much a
I still
top
think it's a
6
little
guy
bit
for
high. I'd be probably closer to a second or third rounder, but
yeah.
just for the fact that he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, or like a third and a prospect.
Because what's the deal with it? Like he becomes a free agent when though?
At the end of
upcoming.
this hockey season. So
Tamper. Tell the guy we'll sign you next summer.
yeah.
Just hold out.
Interesting.
We'll take you for free.
That'd be nice.
Then an investigation.
That's exactly
Well,
what
if they also both
Yeah.
think that they thought the deal was done, the Oilers were going to have, and then just be like, hey, hold out.
Yeah.
Hold out.
We'll just get you for free later.
Yeah. Next year's our year. This year we're gonna take a little dip and then we'll bring you in and we'll go win a cup with them. That's next year.
You think that's what they're thinking though? Just because they have
Oilers?
so much cap space the following year?
Yeah.
I don't think they have that much though.
No?
I think what's the number that they have?
104 mil is what it bumped.
Yeah. So what's the projected cap
I think it was
space?
49 million.
Yeah, but
next
you-
year.
but-
so 16. You think to Connor?
You need to sign him next year. There's 0 goalies signed
Yeah.
for next season in Skinner and in
And then Wallman and Ekman come off the books.
yeah, but you're gonna want to sign Wallman.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you got to replace Ekholm.
Yeah.
in some way, shape,
Stetcher,
or form.
Kulak, Wallman, Ekholm, Jones, Tomasek, Kapanen, Henrique, and then Connor.
But like the savings that you got from goaltending the last couple of years, that's gone.
Is it?
Next
Also,
year?
you're paying Jack Campbell. Dead cap.
And that's not. But that's not. They're combined less than $4 million. Next year, your goalie's not a combined less than 4.
What do you?
Because you need to go get a different goalie, and that goalie's going to have to be paid a little
fair.
bit.
But I was gonna say, out of curiosity, what do you think if those guys, if they ran it back
If they were here next year and we're running it back in the city the year after,
and they played the exact same way, what do you think those guys are getting?
well, I don't think
Skinner
there's-
makes 2.6. He's not getting more.
Cap's going up 4.
He's not getting more.
I'd see 4.
4?
Yeah. Well, like what?
You're gonna get run out of town, buddy.
Oh, I don't care. Okay, here's the thing. If I'm Skinner's camp, though, what did the Oilers do this year? That's part of this question.
Dude.
And if they get to a conference final again, if you're Stuart Skinner, you're saying, I take you to 2 cup finals and I got you to conference final.
And I'm an all-star. And I'm a Calder finalist.
And these are what these other goalies are making. I'm 4.5. Look at where the cap is. He's making more.
Hill got what, 5.5 per?
Hill's better.
That's why 4.5. It's less.
What's Kemper at
What's
now?
Hill at?
He just said 5.5.
Oh, he's 5.5.
Yeah, he just re-up.
You should be listening, Belsey.
I'm going through puck
No, but
here just
and
to
that's
see
the only
what.
thing I say. Like, there's a lot of cap space, but there's a lot of like certain moves. Like, you do need to get goaltending next year, no matter what. I don't care whether it's the same goalies or different goalies. Because like, even if let's say Skinner goes win the cup this year, he's now getting paid.
You know what hurts him a little bit? It's the Jack Campbell thing hurts him a little bit.
Who? The Oilers?
2.3, 2.6.
Yes, I hate
1.5.
Absolutely hate buyouts.
Like, it's a decent
hate
player
buyouts.
that could be in your lineup if you don't have that buyout. Like, that just sucks.
Buyouts are bad.
Yep.
And they
Can't stand
basically had one for the last 10 years.
Yeah, because what
They've
was
had
it?
multiples.
It was
Benoit
Neil-
Pouliot,
James
Eric
Neal was in
Greiber.
there.
Neal's on there.
The Eric Greiber one didn't make any sense.
I know.
Because he had 1 year left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If I had like 1.4 million or something.
That was a terrible move. That was Shirley? Or was that Holland?
Was that Peter?
I
think it was Peter.
Yeah, I think it was Shirley.
I think it was still Peter.
What's Peter doing right now?
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Advisor with St. Louis. Or like a assistant.
Yeah,
GM.
He was a
type
part
of
of the offer sheet.
Yeah.
Screw Edmonton.
Him and Ken Holland got together and like, let's do this with Doug.
I'm gonna go to LA in a year.
But that's like with that cap space, there is a fair amount of cap space, but like you immediately have to go, there's 16 goes to Connor. That takes, and then you need to go figure out your goaltending situation. So now you've dropped, and now you got to go make sure you figure out 2 defensemen in Wallman and Ekholm. Wallman returned, Ekholm probably not.
What if you kept Ekholm around, but like at a reduced rate?
Yeah, that'd
per
be
year,
amazing
too?
for
Just
them.
on like a 1 or 2 year.
Yeah.
That's what the
Very-
Panthers would get done,
Very reduced.
Yeah.
in a
like-
sense.
You basically
2-year deal, 4 mil.
phase him out, right?
Yeah.
Like
How many mil?
4.
4 per. I think that would be good.
Is that a little high? Especially if he's at the end of his contract, starting to age out.
Is he still their best defenseman?
That would be the question too at that point.
It depends how this year goes from.
Yeah.
Because if there is no sign of regression from him, then he might ask for 6 again. Or I can't like. I think when he first came to Edmonton, if he had to re-sign after that first year in Edmonton, you're talking 8 something for him. But over the past couple of years, it's averaged out probably to he's earned his contract at 6, and then if it's a regressed year next year,
if he regresses again, are we probably talking about 3
million,
2.5, 3?
If he regresses again, you're not bringing him back.
Fair.
yeah.
I think if there's a significant regression, I think that's just not even worth having, unless you're saying at home you become now a 6th, 7th defenseman.
You're a 6th defenseman, but you're at 2.5 or 3, kind of like a Tavares deal, where he wants to stay here. He's got his roots. He goes from 11 to what, 4?
He's making less than Cody Ceci this year.
Yeah.
Or this next.
Oh my God.
Just want to that.
You just had to do that, hey?
Quick portions of this hour of the Hangout there, brought to you by GS Construction, proud platinum partner of the EST Golf Classic presented by Play Alberta. GS Construction hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page at indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. GS Construction has their foursome with a celeb of EST at the golf tournament next week. So looking forward to having Turan and them out there for that. And also very big thank you to them for being the dinner sponsor. Yeah, because what did Tavares get?
Get 4.
Is it 4 per year?
Yeah.
So you got less than Cody Ceci. The Ekholm is Ekholm this year is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because is Ekholm going to be there to start of the year? And Stan Bowman says he was completely healthy at the end of the season.
BS.
But I don't know how many people, Tommy was talking about that on Friday. How many people are going to sit there and say Matthias Ekholm was actually healthy by just looking at him, watching him play? Because the flip side is,
move.
if he was healthy and that's what he is,
Yeah.
then it's an uh-oh.
Yep.
Then it's a full uh-oh, this isn't going to go well.
Yeah.
But I think we could all just be like, okay, he was fibbing.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is a little bit banged up, is he going to be healthy for the start? And actually, Reed brought this up yesterday during our show, and I didn't go back and double check it all. Zach Hyman, when was he supposed to be ready? Well, it might not be like it was. He'll be ready for the regular season, but maybe not the start of training camp.
So the dislocation, what a broken wrist or whatever. Apparently, it was like there's a lot. It was complicated, like the way it broke, and it's gonna take like meticulous healing. And
Oh, really?
yeah, it caught him in like a really bad spot and more complicated than
The way that he got hit, I thought it was just all shoulder. Like the way that he went down, like I didn't think it caught his wrist, but
I remember
that's
watching
tough.
that first period at my place, and I went to my buddies for the second, and I thought it was wrist, and I showed up. They're all like, "What are you talking about? Shoulder?" I'm like, I don't know. I looked and instantly, like, I saw his hands were pointed out. When you're holding your stick like that, your wrists are locked, and a guy puts all your weight on that. That's a broken wrist, I thought, and then they were debating his shoulder, but
It looked shoulder to me initially, just because his arm kind of just drooped. But
Yeah.
it
Just
makes
the way that
sense
he kinda
statistically.
like-
yeah. When they point that out, that's the point.
So
So those to me would be two
That's
questions to
realistic
the
ways,
start
yeah.
of the season next year is what's up with Hyman? When's he going to be ready to go? And what is Ekholm? So we'll see. This is the EST Angle presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider by Canadian, 4 weeks free on all units. Check them out, sentinel.ca. Belle, Tommy, Benny, Matt with you here on the Hangout here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Coming up next, we do have the lock shop at 11 in an hour. Not right away. Noon, we got Oil Stream. We got EST afternoons. We got the Reed Wilkins Show without Jay Milne today. That will take you until 6 o'clock. Edmonton Sports Talk, proudly presented by Play Alberta. Use YEG50. Deposit 5 or more, and you'll get a $50 free bonus. Bet on sports. Play Alberta, your home for online game and excitement featuring casino games, live dealer action, lottery, instance, and sports betting. Download the app or check them out. Sign up at playalberta.ca.
I wore longer shorts for everybody today because I saw what I did.
I like the fabric of that.
Thank you.
Those look interesting.
They're Adidas.
Oh yeah,
The golf shorts, yeah.
I love the comments.
People were sending in. Someone like said that they got a nudity notification on their work computer. It got flagged for nudity, and then they sent a picture. Somebody had to put, or they put a post-it note on top of my legs with pants.
Yeah.
I've
I've seen some of the Instagram comments on the clip.
That's why you can't be wearing shorts on here, man.
I wear regular shorts.
Don't. No, you don't.
This video needs
Look at
censoring.
this. These are regular shorts. They're about that much. Yours are mid-thigh minimum, and those are your normal size shorts.
No.
How long
And when
before
you sit, they
Instagram
ride
takes
up.
this down for Tommy's package just hanging out there?
Yeah. Why don't you just put your nuts on the leather next time?
That's an HR violation.
That is an HR violation.
HR daddy would be all over that.
You should be getting talked to.
No.
Nicoletti on waivers.
Okay.
yeah. I just saw that, and there's
what
no
else?
buyout, so you can't do that. I gotta click this because I got to make sure that SI.com's not getting sentineled.
Oh no.
Oh no, they're reporting. This is from sources to the Athletic. Lakers, Celtics, and the Warriors are among teams actually interested in the service of Lillard. You're not vindicated.
I'm not wrong.
You're not vindicated. You said the
no.
Lakers signed him.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. I'm just early.
You might be wrong on this one.
I love this.
I honestly, when he was bought out yesterday, I did think I hope the Lakers go for him.
He won't be the same.
Well, I'm willing to take the chance on Dame.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm
You
willing
have to.
if the price is right when he's healthy, which it wouldn't be this season, it'd be the season after. I'd take that flyer on him.
Backcourt of Dame and Luka.
Yeah, I would take a flyer.
Oh, the no D backcourt? Perfect. But man, they can score.
They should
You're
look
like,
at
who
Chris
can
Paul.
hog the
150
ball
games.
more,
Yeah.
Dame or Luka? Braun's going to be sitting in the corner like this. He's going to be a 3-and-D
he's still
guy by
playing.
at that point.
I think he's only got one more.
Did you see the report that said there's no interest in the league for LeBron? I almost fell off my
For
chair.
trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Do you understand why I was there?
Yeah,
What the
'cause he's
rationale was?
LeChoke.
No. Here's the stuff.
Dusty's gonna run in.
Dusty's going to run in.
Here's the reason why it was.
He chokes.
It's his age. One.
Yeah.
Are you going to give up the farm to get LeBron James? You're not giving up the farm to get that player at that age. Well, you're not giving up the farm. And two, his contract is 50-some million. That it's just also like that. It's too hard for teams to go.
You couldn't
and
tell me
acquire.
one rational point as much as you're trying to give me common sense right now. Don't care.
That's what the report had.
Don't care. LeChoke sucks.
It's the same with Kobe. No one wanted Kobe, and nobody wanted Kobe late either, or nobody would have wanted Kobe late either.
nothing.
Nobody wanted to play with Kobe. That's what happens when you're up there age like that.
Oh, I'm just trying to stir the pot right now.
I
Did you
know.
see him working out the other day? He was hustling his ass
wanna
off.
know
Who,
something?
LeBron?
Yeah.
No one wanted, Jordan at the end. He was with the Wizards.
One team wanted him.
Yeah, one team wants
Wizard.
LeBron. The Lakers.
Nobody wants
The Lakers
Nobody
absolutely
wants
still want LeBron.
LeBron.
Just want to point out.
He's going to be a 3-and-D guy.
WST sent their viewers over to us.
Yeah, what were they doing?
I don't know.
What's up?
Well, I know I think it was Connor out there. They re-signed or however they worded it. Are they adding a second show during the day? Matt Hyman, I know you're a big WSTer there. What was going on? Why did WST send people here? Because us isn't on till noon.
Yeah.
So what am I missing with WST? But thank you to all the WSTers. All I know when it comes to Nick Ehlers is probably everything you already know. But Chris Johnson says at some point today he's going to make his decision.
Can it be Carolina?
Oh, CFL 110 went early. That's what it is. Huss and Jeff Hamilton, who does great stuff with the Free Press. Their show went early today. That makes sense. Thank you, Matt. Why Carolina?
They've got tons of cap space. They're a
I'd
South
rather-
team. They're a South team that doesn't get a lot of attention.
fits
Solid
the mold.
core. They need a little bit of a boost with
want him
a
in
high
Winnipeg,
skilled
though.
player.
I think Winnipeg still wants him. I want him in Winnipeg.
You don't want to be in Winnipeg.
He don't.
You know,
Don't
so.
be calling out our Winnipeg. Don't.
I
be
love
ripping on
Winnipeg. Don't-
we get WSTers
don't-
on here, and now you're
don't
just
do
ripping
that.
on Winnipeg.
Don't you do that,
Yes,
Maddie?
no, that's what you're doing right now.
Listen,
Why are you ripping on Winnipeg?
I was stirring the pot earlier with LeBron, but right now we all know how I feel about Winnipeg. Love the place. Don't
then
do
why
that.
are you saying he doesn't want to be there?
He's not going to be there because he would have re-signed there already.
No, that's not true.
His quotes are, "I would like to be somewhere warm." Winnipeg knows it's not
Yeah, what
warm.
did Brock Besser's camp say prior to yesterday?
They had choice words for the Vancouver Canucks, but they got another 10 million at the
50
last
sheets.
second. Yeah.
Okay,
10
who's
million.
to say the Jets aren't going to then spend that extra money and also Nick
Okay, do
Ehlers,
they have that money?
Nick Ehlers is going to sit there and say, I love being in the
Man.
cold. I actually don't want warm. I like the snow.
I like thermal
Now
socks.
you're being a troll.
No,
I'm going to put my
don't be
thermal
ripping-
socks on.
Don't be ripping the Winnipeg people, and don't be
Buddy.
ripping Winnipeg.
I've been to Winnipeg more than you have, and I love it.
That I'm sure you have. Then why are you ripping on them?
Get out of here.
Oh, I like when you guys argue like old
Get out of
ladies.
here. You're such a rat. Love you, though.
Dolores, what are you talking about?
Booty shaking Mondays. Palomino.
What?
Booty
Booty shaking Mondays at the Pal.
I just want to get. I retweeted Leah Simakopoulos, who's fantastic. Dallas Morning News. They're having the press conference for Glenn Gulutzan right now. Jim Nill said, we interviewed individuals at all different levels, but in the end, it kept coming back to Glenn. I kept hearing, you'll go through the wall for you. It's one thing to have success, but it's those tough times that you learn who you are. That's what Glenn has done.
Well, two things I'll go with this. One is it just hit me. I would have never guessed Glenn Gulutzan would have got a head coaching job before Jay Woodcroft.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair.
I would have never guessed that. The guy had 2 coaching gigs already, then has been this assistant. You know, you never know. Maybe that time had passed in my mind with Glenn Gulutzan. And Jay had one and left the Oilers as either the winningest or second winningest Oilers coach, depending how you want to look at their history. And he still doesn't, and he's back to being on the bench. So I find that interesting. If the Oilers and Stars were to meet, the guy knows how to beat the Oilers, I would think, in a way. Like, he'd be the closest to having an idea if you could go beat the Oilers.
Right now, yeah, absolutely.
Because he would know the
and
team pretty
Paul
well. From the West. From the West.
Sorry.
Paul Maurice knows how.
No, that was good.
Yeah.
Although I think a lot of coaches would maybe know how if you had those Florida Panthers players.
That's a good team, man. It's a real good team. Yeah, that's fair and good point. Everyone, I mean, when Woodcroft got let go, the team did let him down, but there was also an onslaught of information and being on top of it all the time, and that word started to trickle out, and maybe that spooked other GMs from hiring him. But I don't know. I think he'll eventually get another chance.
Would he?
I would think so. Yeah.
He will now that he's assistant. I
Yeah.
think. He needed to get back on a bench in some way, shape, or form. And going to Europe and playing, coaching second or third level, that's not going to do it.
No.
Glenn Gulutzan was, because Big Uke asked, wasn't it Nill that fired him? He was relieved of his duties on May of 2013.
13, yeah.
Jim Nill has been their GM. Managerial career was in April of 2013. So yeah, Jim Nill might have been the one that, or would have been the one that let him go initially. But it wasn't his guy at the time.
Yeah.
And things have changed and you've moved on. So bring him back home. Carolina once brought back Paul Maurice.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
If Ehlers thinks the lights in Winnipeg are too bright, where does he need to play? Alaska? Is that what he said too? Oh, no, Matt Hyman first said, because that came from Squeaky Wheel. Matt Hyman says apparently Ehlers thought the lights were too big in Winnipeg at times.
Yeah, there's a lot of spotlight. You play in Canadian
market.
cities, you just have a different level of pressure.
Yeah.
Just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And some players can handle that very well. Other players
and others
do
can't.
struggle with that, and they need different things and go different places. And when you're a league like the NHL, there's a lot of different. Oh, any league actually.
That's why
There
I
are
think,
different
that's why I think
lights.
Carolina, because it's not as bright.
Yeah, okay.
They have a decent core players. They're always good. Rod the Bod has been a fantastic coach, and they need a guy or two to kind of get them over the hump.
Okay.
Just can't win games in the conference final.
Thank you. That last point there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Nick Ehlers to Carolina is such a Carolina thing.
I know it is. That's
And it's
also
like,
why-
So perfect.
you have like
Yeah, you
3
have-
Nick Ehlers on your team.
Yep.
Why do you want another one? Aho, Svechnikov, like
Jarvis.
Jarvis.
because maybe
like,
if you put a bunch of them together,
They all power up into
He's the
one
final-
Exactly.
Yeah, he's the final
Yeah,
missing
like-
piece for it.
what? Like, but to me, that is so Carolina. And that's why they're never going to win. And that's why I think they're going sideways here. And like, I think their window is closed. I'm sorry. The way they're built and the mantra of what they think is I can't even say it, championship caliber team, like, to me is preposterous. Phony.
I'm just going to throw this out there just quickly to the top fans thing. People are getting more XP now. So I think as the show goes on, maybe you can pick up more. Or maybe it's like 75 XP per hour. Because now we're into hour 2.
What can you
Blueberry
redeem?
7938 is our number one fan at this moment.
Yeah, what can you redeem them for?
You can't redeem them. You just get a little thing next to it.
Sick.
So Blueberry's Life is the number one fan at the moment. Project Dumplings is number 2.
Thanks for work,
and
guys.
Nathan,
or girls.
or Big Uke. I don't know. I was going to read the whole thing there, but Big Uke number 3.
What dumpling?
Project Dumplings.
Project Dumplings, Blueberry Muffin.
Blueberry 7938.
Oh, okay.
Abutski's just outside the top 3, just off the podium.
Abutski's in there.
So keep at it, apparently.
Interesting.
Keep going. We also have a Tecmo game, Dusty and Trev. I think it's over for Trev already.
Poor guy.
It's Dusty
Just really kicking him when he's down, hey?
Yeah.
That's 14-0. Dusty's already up 14-0, and it's the end of the first quarter. It's over. Dusty ain't losing a 14-0 lead when he's the San Diego Chargers. Dusty's undefeated. No one's beating him. The only person that's going to beat him is me or Hernan. Maybe Jay could catch him.
Hey,
in terms of regular season, playoffs will be different.
here's an interesting one. The teams are announcing like depth signings. Phil Kemp going to Pittsburgh, by the way. Played one game with the Oilers. Had to go play forward. I think he got 2 minutes in. Your former teammate, Tyler Pitlick, just got a 2-year, 2-way deal from Minnesota.
He was not my former teammate.
I thought he played the 1 year with you in
I don't think
Oklahoma.
so. I think he was after. Like right after I left.
You lying to me?
I could be. I don't know. I don't remember.
Where did
playing
you
with Tyler
think
Pitlick.
with Tyler Pitlick? Where did you think they played? Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Tyler Pitlick's career, so he played in OKC 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15,
right
15,
after me.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were 10, 11. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought he was your teammate. Because him and Hamilton and Ryan Martindale, were they on your team? Or well, obviously Pitlick wasn't. He was in Medicine Hat that year. Do you remember Martindale?
Yes.
He was on your team that year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Remember when we ran into Tanner House during the playoffs?
Yeah, and you said he was on my teammate and he wasn't?
But you got traded and he signed that same year. And I'm like, didn't you guys play together? No,
No.
you guys did not. Anyway, I'm sorry. You don't. Well, we do Benny's Blind Rankings, your former teammates, and you just always giggle because it's like, there's a lot of guys you played with.
Yeah. I have a lot of fun looking through box scores.
Yep,
and
there's a few.
Okay.
Guys.
I'm looking through that team that year. Omara, of course, he was great. Van de Velde, good dude. Rich Petio, still kicking around town, good dude. Yeah, Tanner House was on that team that year. He played 6 games.
But not when I was around.
Not when you were there. You got traded at that point.
Abutski, you're welcome, buddy.
What happened?
He just said, Belzy, thanks for completing the trifecta of hosts on their phones. You're welcome.
I am at this very moment. One, when we're on our phones here, we're also looking at the nasty chat. We're looking at the Paris Jewelers inbox. We have to keep it locked
just
into
trolling.
that. And I'm scrolling through all the negotiation lists of the CFL as I'm just trying to see if there's anything that really stands out to me.
And
as today, the CFL has announced that they are going to make the entire 45-player negotiation list open. Before you jump in, Belzy, I'll just quickly explain this. The negotiation list, so Canadian rights are divvied up via the CFL draft. American rights are divvied up by the negotiation list, where players can add up to 45 players to their neg list, and if that player ever chooses to come to Canada, that team holds their right. No one else can go talk to them. Those rights you could drop, add a player whenever you want. You could trade those rights. Chad Kelly's rights were famously traded for Nick Arbuckle from the Argos from Edmonton.
Yeah.
So it does play into things. These completely changed. And for years, it was secretive. No one knew who's on these neg lists. And then after fans have been yelling for it in media for years. They released twice a year 10 play names.
Yes, I remember that.
And they show you, here are the 10 names. And then out of nowhere today, they announced moving forward to today, because who needs secrecy, even though no one, people have told you this for years. It's now open. I think if you go to the CFL website, you'll always, like, if something gets changed at any moment, it'll just show up that the thing will be different. So that's what happens with the neg list. And now you can see, and this is basically like you're looking at, if I'm looking at the Elks one, these are, how many of these guys ever going to come to Edmonton? Who knows? Whoever, I was like, Cam Ward's not on this number 1 overall pick. I bet he was on this list if this was this time last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Like, but now he's the number 1 pick. He's signed in the NFL. You're not wasting a neg spot on him, but you never know. I think as we look at the top players of next year's NFL draft, some teams will have them. Trey Lance is on Saskatchewan.
Yeah, but people knew about that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So he's still on Saskatchewan's list, just in case he chooses to come to the CFL. But it's like, if you want to watch college football this year, you might be able to say, okay, for the Edmonton Elks, Byron Brown is a QB with South Florida. Pay attention to South Florida. Maybe this guy is an Edmonton Elk one day. The only one I saw, I can't remember if I saw it, Sidney Brown, defensive back, Illinois. I don't know why that name rings a bell to me. He's a Canadian American, so I don't know how that one works, because he's born in Canada, but he's on a neg list. So I thought, like, wouldn't he be gone through a CFL draft? So that one confuses me a little bit, but that's how it is. So that's what I was looking at with the neg list player, to see if there's anything really to stand up. Like, hey, look, this is what the Elks are.
Do you guys remember when at the time, Eskimos put Terrell Owens on their neg list?
Hilarious.
I forgot about that.
And they were negotiating. Owens had a agent that was a local agent. And apparently they were talking. I had to fill in for Shoggy. They're like, can you go and talk to Jason Moss and some of the players about Terrell Owens and Mike Riley and stuff? And I'm like, weird, but okay, sure. Like, I'll take the payday. Like, that's great. And it's funny because Mosser comes into the scrum, and we told the PR, like, hey, just heads up, we need to talk about this because it's getting out there and it's catching a lot of attention. And Jason comes up to us. He goes, listen, guys, I'm not going to talk about Terrell Owens. And first question I had to ask, like, well, I roundabout asked him about it. And then he gives like a 5-minute answer. And I'm like, that is so good. That was so good. I love Jason. Like, he's just so angry. And he's like, I'm not talking about Terrell Owens. And then goes 5-minute Terrell Owens answer. And I was like, that was beautiful.
I agree, Matt Hyman. Now release, at the very least, salary cap. If there's one thing I could ask of the CFL, I understand the wanting to have the secrecy still around the players' contracts. I do get that. Here's the 2 things I ask for. 1, break it down, maybe offensive, defensive players type thing. Throw special teams in there somewhere. Split them, say special teams is going to be offense or something. But have a thing where it's like, I want to know what the Elks have for cap right now. The cap is what, $5 million or something like that. Where do the Elks sit at this moment in relation to the cap? Mm-hmm. If I'm looking at the receiving core and I'm going, they're not doing well, I want to be able to say, well, do they have the room to go make someone, or do they have to cut someone to bring someone in? Give me at the very least a % of the cap that they're at. Even at that one, you want to go, the Elks are sitting at 95% of the cap. And tell me also, just give me a list of players when they expire. Show me just a list of UFA versus they're signed. David Beard's 2 years, then UFA. That's it. Like, you don't have to actually show me the full numbers.
Yeah.
Tell me what the team is in relation to the cap, and tell me how many years a player has left in a very easy format. That's all I ask from the CFL. So that, like, and because these last few years especially, like, as you get towards the end, it's like, I don't know who free agent is for the Elks coming up. Who's a free agent that they need to keep, move on from? What other teams do you maybe like? These are players that they should maybe target in the offseason. You can't have those conversations late in the season.
Fair point.
So that's the one thing I would like. I called the game, and now apparently it's 14-14 at half.
Yeah,
it's over. I'm telling you right now, it's over. Dusty's not losing this. He was up 14-0. I don't care that Trev scored 14 points. He's not scoring 28.
Okie doke.
Ooh.
I know this game. I'm a 2-time champ.
Oh, fury.
And the defending and reigning champ. Portions of this Saturday EST Hangout brought to you by the Hive Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out. thehiveproductmarketing.com. Did you going to jump in and say something?
I want one thing. Do you remember Johan Motin?
I'm going to say that's a yes.
It's just
no.
Yeah, do you remember? You played.
Let me see.
Wait,
oh yeah, I know. I do.
You played like 35 games with him.
Yeah, I remember this guy.
He played one game with the Oilers. I remember Johan Motin, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to ask Bellsy if he actually remembers this guy.
I do remember him.
One trait about him you remember?
His face. That's why I recognize him. I'm like, oh yeah, I played with that guy.
So many guys are like, I think I know him. I don't know. Sorry, I just
No, it's fine
because I remember he was so obscure, and I was just like, I'm gonna ask Shawn if he remembers this guy.
Speaking of the Elks, they play Sunday. Ottawa's in town. Tickets, goelks.com.
That's going to send me down a rabbit hole now.
I know. I'm sorry.
goelks.com. It is Pure Lighter Tackle Hunger Night. So if you are heading to the game, be sure to bring a non-perishable food item or a food donation for the food bank. It's always a big game. It's always a lot of fun. It should be a good night. What was the forecast looking? Bells, are you making your first appearance?
No.
Oh my God. You're a season ticket holder and you never go?
This one...
22 degrees, so
this
nice
one's
night.
not my fault. I'm going to be at a birthday party at a lake. And I asked,
excuses.
Can we come home earlier? And it was a resounding no.
Boss says no.
Boss says no.
Okay.
But the Elks taking on the Red Blacks again. goelks.com for information. Edmonton Sports Talk. We've got a little bit of thing coming up next week, probably that we'll throw out there in relation to the Edmonton Elks. So looking forward to that.
If it's what I think it is, I am excited. Is it what I think it is?
I don't know what you're thinking. So
You
I
know
don't
what
know.
I'm thinking.
I actually don't. So maybe
You can read my mind.
Yeah, there was a meeting last week, so it looks like
That's
we're
what I was
proceeding
thinking
with
about.
it.
Excellent.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, goelks.com. Should be a beautiful night. We'll have our tailgate spot set up, and Jay and I will have the Green and Gold kickoff show for you, 4:00 right here in Edmonton Sports Talk, as we'll get you set for that game. Play Alberta as of Monday. Feels weird. Like it doesn't feel like it's Wednesday.
No.
you know?
No, it doesn't.
Feels like we went through like a full weekend. I want to be like on Friday, but no, on Monday the Elks were 2.5-point underdogs. I want to
At
see if they've
home.
changed that.
against Ottawa. Is Crum starting? I should know this. I'm doing the game.
Well, So the Elks are now 2-point underdogs. So the thing is, Elks and Red Blacks day one, I think, is today.
That's right.
Because
Okay,
today,
yeah.
Thursday, Friday, there's your 3 days. Saturday's walkthrough. So I think today is the first day we'll get an injury report from both teams. I think. I'm opening up the injury report right now. Yeah, there's nothing from them. So today will be our first indication of what's happening in that sense. So I'm not worried if it's Drew Brown, even. From what I saw from the Elks for 3 quarters,
Yeah.
and what I saw from the Red Blacks through that game, I'm not like I shouldn't say I'm not worried because the Elks still don't have that win. But I feel very good about the Elks getting that first victory in this one.
Mm-hmm.
That like the one fear I do have actually is Geno Lewis coming back.
And he'll be motivated. And it's his
100%.
revenge game.
100%.
And, yeah, exactly.
And Ed's gonna be there. Right? Like he knows Ed's there. He's gonna want to do something against Ed. And it's gonna be how much is or are the Ottawa Red Blacks gonna plan a game plan getting Geno the ball? And could the Elks handle defensively stopping him? And like, because if they can, like one thing you want, if you get that team that's locked in on revenge, you might be able to catch them a little bit more there. But also, if you can't stop it, Geno could go off on you.
Yeah.
Like I could see a 125 2-touchdown game from Geno coming up. He's that type of player. He's that good of a player too. Can they go contain him or stop him? And that's the one worry I do have.
Do you think Ed would watch from the sidelines to like...
I don't think Ed's going to change a single thing
Yeah, good point.
of how he goes about business.
Yeah.
Ed is the type of guy that doesn't care. Like if Ed was here, walked in, we're like, hey, Geno, revenge game. He'd be like, what are we talking about here? Why? I don't care. The guy's not an Elk.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. I care about my team.
I like those like gamesmanship things. That's why I brought it up. Like I know Ed goes down during the warm up and he talks with people and stuff, but
And I think, like, I don't know how his I think he's in the press box for the most part from what I remember in the past. I think at a certain point he is on the sideline towards the end of the game.
yeah.
I just expect Ed to beat Ed and do the same.
do his thing, yeah.
Do the exact thing.
It was interesting because Machocho watched the entire game on the sideline, not with the team on the Als bench, but like 10 yards away. Kind of
Okay.
leaving Jason and his staff to do their thing.
So kind of more like the 10-yard line or something?
yeah, around 15, 20 yard line.
That's usually where Ed would stand too.
Because that's where I would talk to Danny, and I enjoyed my conversation with him. I'll reiterate that. But then like when when the Owls started to crank it up against the Elks that game, it was like a touchdown, and he did like this huge like running fist pump in the air, and I was like, yeah, he probably did that for the cameras, but it was good.
Bronco Nick, any ticket giveaways for Sunday? We will have some tickets to give away, so don't worry for that one. B-Man B-Mans, must win for the Elks on Sunday, question mark?
It's an important game. Let's not kid ourselves. Get that win.
They need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely need it.
I will say it's a must win.
Okay.
I will go that far. I'm confident in my prediction that they'll win 10 games this season because I had 0-3, but then they win Ottawa and it sets them off. If they lose to Ottawa, I don't know where they're getting wins.
Wow, the power ranked 9th right now. I saw the power rankings.
And I will immediately say this Elks team's going to win like 3 games this year. Oof. They'll be lucky to win 3 games this year. Like if you can't go beat Ottawa, then who are you beating? And I don't want to fully disrespect Ottawa, but there is no free space on the bingo card. And in the end, if there isn't one, that's generally you. Yep. Like if you can't go beat Ottawa, can't beat Montreal, can't beat Winnipeg, I have a tough time then fully believing you're going to beat Saskatchewan. Mm-hmm. Can you beat Calgary then? I don't know. Like Hamilton, maybe. Toronto, probably not. Like it's very difficult. So to me, just from even a standpoint of what this team could go do, like if they lose this one, then I was completely wrong about this team. I'll say that. And this team, I just don't know what they'll do unless Cody Fajardo will eventually come in. Then probably at some point, that will be if they lose this. The questions now start coming about who should be the starting quarterback for as we continue through July. Has to be. If you're 0-4, you have to have those questions when you have a guy like Cody Fajardo there. But I do think they win. I do stand by that still.
I still think you'd have to just ride Ford.
But how long can you do that?
You gotta find out.
Is he your starting quarterback
That's
or
what
not?
You have to find out.
Right, but
he is.
You also have to find ways to get some wins. You have to find a way to start turning some things around a little bit. And even if Trey, maybe you could still believe Trey's your guy, but maybe it's like, okay, we need Cody out there for a couple of weeks just to let Trey watch a little bit. You know, it's the guy in the press box.
Plenty of time to watch, and it's time to.
But not with this group, not with this coach, not with this OC, not with this offensive game plan.
If that happened, put yourself in Trey's shoes. Don't you think he's going, here we go again?
Yep.
Well, I think the conversation starts, but if you're 0-5, if you're 0-6, like a part of me is, and look, I love Trey. I love what he can do. He's signed the wall over there.
You're the president of the fan club.
Absolutely. But if you're 0-6, I don't care then what he thinks. You're 0-6. Like you haven't won a football game. Go win a football game. Go beat someone.
But then you go back to the same thing that we started this whole year with was, okay, well, Trey needs to have the ball to figure out if he's a guy.
And if you're at 0-7, I think we kind of know a little bit more now. That's my point.
That's still a fairly small sample size.
They win this week.
Nick Arbuckle just beat Ottawa. I'm not sold on Nick Arbuckle as a starting quarterback in this league.
Nope.
Well, and he's like 33 years old.
He was, but when he came to Edmonton, he was one that was like, nope, not the guy.
Definitely not.
He just went to beat. If you can't beat, like, and then you lose to it's BC, then it's Saskatchewan, then it's Hamilton. Let's even like. I'm sorry. Like at some point, you got to make some sort of change.
Well,
let's get the win this weekend.
Get the win, and you don't have to worry about it.
100%. And I still, again, if they get that win, I'll feel very confident about my 10 wins this year. I see 4 wins in the month of July. I think there's only 4 games. Or is there 3 games? There might only be 3 games. The 4th game might be the start of August.
There's a game August 2nd.
Yeah, that's what I might be thinking of. Because it's Ottawa, BC at home, back-to-back home games, Saskatchewan. There's a bye week somewhere in there, and then Hamilton at home. I think they beat Saskatchewan if they beat Ottawa. And they lose to BC at home.
Ooh, that'd be good if they beat Sask. That'd be a big win.
Yeah, it would.
Sask is rolling quite nicely.
Do you see the Shea 71.2 in 1 year? They do the comparables, and so what I was going to step in with a while ago was just in terms of the cap and you know, some of these guys going out and getting their money forces a cap up, and you look at the star players in the NHL and the money that they make versus star players in other leagues, it's actually crazy. McDavid, I think, has made $95.2 million in his entire career, and Shea's about to make 70 whatever in 1 year. Do you ever see a time where the NHL, not to 70, but we'll have star players at 20 million.
No. Oh, 20,
Yeah.
yeah, easily. 20, easily. 20 is easily.
And how long?
In 4 years.
Yeah.
You think in 4 years you'll have 20 million?
The max contract when it's 113 is going to be close to 20 million.
Okay, will you have 30 millions?
Another 10, 15 years.
It's one of those. It's going to be as the cap goes up. It's 20%. The star players are going to get that 20% of the cap or get close to that. But there's that limit of how much you can give one player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that does change some things. But
So,
it's tough to compare in largely too, because in the NBA, you make all this revenue.
Mm-hmm.
The NHL makes all this revenue. The NBA has to go and pay 15 NBA players or something like that. The NHL's contracts of 50,
Yeah.
but your cap is 23, let's say. Like, you have to go pay 8 more players.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts.
That's why I'm asking that question, because that's like,
It's also a TV deal. The NBA doesn't need fans in their seats.
no.
Closer. Like the
Yeah, they're
NFL
closer
does
to-
not need
yeah.
fans. The NFL could play just on a turf and put up cameras, and their TV
And they'd
deal
be
is all
perfectly
in.
fine,
Their
yes.
TV money's good.
Yeah.
NBA TV money's good. The NHL's not at that level. Still great.
So the NHL, despite record revenues the last 2 years, is still, what would you consider, 4th or 5th?
It's not 5th. MLS is not higher.
No.
Soccer is higher in the U.S. MLS is not higher in the U.S., which is a key
So then
difference.
you think they're 4th?
Soccer fans in the U.S., there's been things they've shown are higher, but they like the Premier League. They like the Mexican League. They like the Spanish League. They don't care as much about the MLS. So it's a number 4.
That's interesting.
But I would still maybe have it at a 3. Like, I think them and MLB are fighting
I don't
for
know if
3-4. But I think they fight for 3-4.
You don't think NASCAR is more popular?
No. That's a
NASCAR-
seldom.
NASCAR is
It's a
more
seldom
popular.
thing. It's a regional thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, NASCAR is like very, very popular in the United States,
Yeah.
to the point where like I almost am arguing that they might be 5 because NASCAR might be more popular.
What about NCAA football? Like, there's another one.
U.S. sports.
Yeah, like-
well, if we're talking pro sports popularity.
So that's the only reason I asked the 20 million, because like, yes, there is cap going up. How high is it going to get to? Connor, if he locks in, he's going to be the highest paid player in the NHL at what, 16 million? Then you're going to need Austin Matthews to come in when he expires, and he's going to get to what, 17 million? And then somebody else, McKinnon, whenever he's expired, is going to get to 18. So how long is it truly going to take for them to get to 20? And I don't know if 4 years is the answer.
Well, the thing is why I say so. I'm trying to think. NASCAR is a little different because they're more like NFL. I was trying to compare because this one graphic doesn't have NASCAR in it, but it had the NHL as it was viewership per game. It goes NFL by far, NBA, NHL, MLB, MLS. But there's also a lot more MLB games in there.
Yes, that's
so that messes with things. Yeah. So we're saying 20% of the cap. We're going to 113 in a couple of years. That's 22 million. So McDavid's going to be at 16. When's McKinnon's next contract up?
McKinnon
Puckpedia.
still has a
McKinnon's-
few years left, doesn't he?
Yeah, he signed a 8-year deal.
Yeah.
McKinnon's contract is going to take him to 2031, so maybe not McKinnon. When's McCarr's next? He's 26. He's got 2 more years. McCarr's going to be the highest paid defenseman
Yep.
easily. So that gets it. That'll put him pretty high. But you got to look at those top
Yeah,
players.
but so then what's
McDavid's
the
not going to be the
highest?
ceiling. People are going to start getting a little
Yep.
higher than, and it's going to get you to the 20, closer to the 20.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, but Toronto, if they decide they want to re-sign Matthews, are they going to shoot well over what McDavid's going to make? Like, I just don't see that happening.
But if he hits a market,
Go to market.
now there's bidding process for us.
Go to market. I still don't see him being well north of 16 million. Like, there's nobody right now in the hockey world is going to say, you know what? I want to give Austin Matthews 17 million a year.
Like Utah would.
17 million a year?
Utah struck out on
Here's what
everybody.
What's he making right now? 14?
Well, this is where it changes too, though. And if there's expansion, some of those teams will have cap space to spend, and somebody might just go overspend.
It is very, very hard to get that high of a caliber forward on your team.
I don't disagree with you any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But he's a $14 million player.
I agree.
And so on the open market,
Currently. But if
yes.
this cap's at 115,
Yes.
whatever.
but on the
he's
open
now more.
market, does he actually jump to 17 with Connor sitting in the league, even though Connor's going to be
Well-
tied up at 16?
Because some people, their agent's going to say, well, Connor signed them this year and the cap's
Yeah.
gone up
Yeah.
X amount.
Yep.
And Connor will go get more if he wants.
I was having this discussion with my dad yesterday. What, like, if Leon didn't sign his extension last summer and he was a free agent in this offseason, how much do you think Leon would have gotten this offseason by a team?
15,
Yep.
Yeah. I would
which is which is $1 million more than what he's got.
yeah.
So then if I look
I
at-
would say at the low end too. I bet you a team like Anaheim would have gave him 16.
I don't know, man, because you still got to build your
They're
team.
cheap,
Like,
aren't they? The Ducks.
Maybe not like a San
But,
Jose
like,
or
somebody just says,
Somebody
we're
just
gonna
going
give
to
you a
throw it.
bet.
Yeah.
He needs a
I
franchise
know what
guy.
you're saying. Sorry,
Yeah.
I know what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, probably. Could see that.
I think it's a similar case for Matthews when he'll hit free agency, like, or if he does.
I just can't see 17.
For Matthews.
And there's a very real possibility that it would happen. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would never happen. I just say I can't personally see it.
He'd have to bounce back pretty good, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd have to have another 60-goal year.
Yeah.
I want to ask ChatGPT about NASCAR.
Okay. People ask about Isaac Howard. I was sent a little something on him. Apparently, the ask from Tampa is insane. And the strategy might be to wait till he becomes a UFA in the summer,
Smart.
Yep.
like Matthew said earlier in the
Yeah.
show.
Collude. Or not collude. Tamper.
That's if you're confident if he signed the confident like he'll sign here though. He's
Tamper.
Yeah.
He's an
Tamper.
American guy.
Tamper.
Yeah. He's an American guy. So I wonder about that a little bit.
There you go. But yeah, the ask is apparently
Significant.
quite significant. Yeah.
Well, this is interesting. So ChatGPT, based on TV ratings, attendance, revenue, and general fan interest, here are the most popularity rankings as of 2025.
Women's volleyball.
NFL, NBA, MLB, NASCAR, NHL, MLS.
Oh.
Go. Yeah, but that to take away, I want to take away TV viewership. And the reason I do that is there's a lot less races than
Then games.
NHL and all that.
Yeah.
So take away TV viewership as a factor. Let's try that and let's see where they put it. But I if NASCAR might be, you might be right, Belle.
Like sheer numbers, it was. I remember
It was
like,
outrageously high.
it got like super popular, but it
Yeah.
just feels like the
Since Formula One.
Yeah, the excitement or the buzz has dwindled on NASCAR.
if I take away TV viewership as a factor for this, MLS moves to 4, NASCAR's 5, NHL is 6.
6.
So the NHL will always they'll never crack the top 2 or 3.
No.
yeah,
But I guess maybe I thought this with MLS more with the World Cup coming next year, but I guess now it's more with NASCAR. The NHL has to worry more about what's coming from behind than what is ahead of it
that's
Yeah.
fair.
and protect itself.
Dusty,
And expanding, I don't think helps.
Dusty.
I don't think so either, actually. Sorry. Go ahead.
Speaking of Shea and his new contract, did you hear Dusty like break down how much he makes like every second and every minute? It's like isn't it like
disgusting.
$8,000 a minute, something like that, or
It's
an hour?
It was $2 and some cents, $2.17 or something like that per second.
8,000 an hour or something.
200 and some 60,000 or so per day.
Jeez.
It's insane.
Yesterday was Bobby Bonilla Day too. He got his
Yeah.
pay.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Day yesterday.
What a great contract.
Oh my goodness, that is insane.
The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is now that the dust is settling on this NCAA, WHL, like what's your guys' thoughts? I don't know if you know enough about it, but
Don't know anything about
to
it.
me, when I look at the whole situation, I think the WHL messed up
Yeah.
because you're getting your best players are just getting taken
Gone.
at a crazy rate.
It's gonna. My prediction is it's gonna turn to a little bit of a development league for like for guys that aren't quite that level of the Gavin McKenna's and stuff. Like if you're 15, you're gonna go there and you're gonna play to your 16, 17, depending on how you develop. And then once you hit 17, you're a good enough prospect, you go play college.
So it's going to turn into 16, 17, 18.
You have to be done high school, though, obviously.
Yeah.
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 So it's going to be a 16, 17, 18 year old league. So is that not just glorified U18 hockey?
In a way.
Because
I think
of the
happen.
fact that the NCAA is literally taking your best players?
Yep. And then I think some 20-year-old, or can you play in dub when you're 20? So
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, but that 20-year-old is not going to play in that league.
he could just dominate if he wants to make
He
his
will not
numbers
be in
look
that.
good.
He will
I'm
not
just
be in
like-
that league.
Isn't that how Hagel kind of reemerged as a prospect?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like if there's a 20-year-old that's like, okay, I can go to college and play 4 or 5 minutes and grind that out, or I can go back to junior and just like light it up against 15, 16-year-olds.
That guy will not be in that league. Because no 20-year-old is going to want to be the only 20-year-old or one of 3 20-year-olds playing against 16, 17, 18s. When you have the ability to go play NCAA or whatever that looks like, or U Sport, depending on what happens with
U
U
Sport's going to take a hit.
Oh yeah.
So to me, it's like I've been wanting to talk about it for a while because I'm just like I'm so dumbfounded based on all the players that have left, and obviously, you know, given the role that I have, I see the list of players that have left, and it's crazy.
Is McKenna official yet?
It's not. It's not. But he's
Rumored.
you
Penn
gotta
State.
think he's leaving too.
Is Marc Lajoie?
That is official now.
It is?
It is
It is
We're going to
official,
bring him
yeah.
on Hello Hockey this weekend.
Four guys from that Bears team got up and left, and they all went to Omaha, Nebraska,
yeah.
Yep.
and like good hockey players.
Nash went back to ASU. Tyson
Damn.
Nash's kid.
Yeah.
So
Like
Yeah,
it's a bit of a problem
would.
because now like the U Sport world is going to get destroyed. So they go after quote unquote secondary players, right? Because you don't get the Marc Lajoies anymore. You don't get some of these high end players. UBC doesn't get a Sam Huo. So you lose players that are legitimately, you know, finish my school, I can go play pro somewhere type players. You're losing those guys. The NCAA gets stronger. They become a true like middle ground between junior and professional hockey.
yeah.
And yeah, like I just
And that's why me and Mark were talking about, like, if the NCAA gets flooded with these guys, they could expand, and maybe there's a Canadian division, and then maybe some of those U Sport teams turned into NCAA, but then it's from there. It's like, the proper assets for that.
Simon Fraser did that in football, but
they-
I think it's no longer the case. Right?
No,
Didn't
they
lose
did
football.
Yeah, they don't have a football program
Yeah.
at this moment, but I think they went all athletics. It wasn't just football.
That's
They were
right.
completely out of.
That's right.
The problem with that is that even if Canadian teams try to switch to the NCAA, I don't know if the money's there. Like we just don't have the same money in those schools.
Yeah.
Like the U of A can't compete with Penn State in terms of finances athletically, and nor do I ever want to see that happen.
Yeah. 100,000 seat stadium to 2,500 seat
Hey,
stadium.
that Claire Drake.
Never touch it. Never touch it. I will
Yes.
pick it. I will protest.
Yeah,
Never
like-
get rid of Claire Drake.
a couple of comments here. It's like there are a lot of good players leaving the AJHL, BCHL, going to WHL who would not have before. Yep, that's a very fair point.
Yeah,
But those
it's-
players get plucked right away anyway. Because if you so you leave the AJHL, you make a good name because you go from the AJ to the BC. That's just the progression that happens. And then the WHL sits back and says, "Well, actually, I like that player too. That guy's gone." So like from a
But you're
recruiting,
getting that player that the NCAA says isn't that good of a player. But you're
Fair.
taking from so
Yeah.
it's you have to look lower. It's those it's
The lower-
the WHL will take from somebody else and take care of themselves. And it's,
Yep.
where's that lower league getting from? And it's just you just look down the chain.
and it just gets worse and worse as you go.
Yeah.
Because like the recruiting and having, players moving up from U18, like they're not taking the quality of player in the AJ or the SJ that they used to take.
Right.
Because now what does that become? Does that become a Div 3 option? Does that become the ACAC? Does that become the U Sports? Like what does those provincial junior leagues, what does it turn into?
Yep. Exactly.
The BCHL is going to do what the BCHL does, and how they adapt and change is going to be one thing. But the WHL, yes, I understand. Like, everything goes up to them. But the NCAA, at the end of the day, doesn't care what you have and what you think or what you say. They're going to take your best players. Like, I know in Tri-City, we just lost like 3 of our best defensemen, all gone. Yeah. They all would be back, and you're like, okay, we actually have a pretty good decor. Not anymore. So what are we supposed to do?
You pooched. I feel bad, and this is happening right now as these guys are accepting these NCAA offers. There are recruits losing their scholarships
Also
too.
that.
Yeah, that's
And I've heard of a couple, and I'm like, that sucks. Yeah. You just got offered a ride, and then now it's been pulled back because WHL guys and OHL guys can go play NCAA hockey. I'm like, that is
But that's where I think D3 becomes way better, right? Like, they get a bump, and they actually got a bit of a bump when they did the portal.
Yeah.
And all these guys, I think the first year of the portal, there was 300 players that were sitting in this thing.
Yeah.
A lot of guys from like Bowling Green left, and they end up in the bigger schools. And then all of a sudden you get these guys that were, mid majors to small majors, and they just all ended up in D3, and D3 got a major boost. So
this is good hockey still.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting landscape.
I have a couple of buddies playing D3. One of them had a really good year on one of the best teams at D3, and I wonder what his situation is going to be now with. I mentioned guys are going to come from NCAA down there or whatever it is, right? There's every roster is going to have to get filled out somehow with these new rules. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm to be really curious to see how the next few years play out.
Official drink of the EST Hangout. Finish long drink legend in 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor. Longdrink.com/Canada is where you can enter your postal code and find a liquor store and establishment nearest you with the long drink. I saw somebody tweet yesterday at us, or this weekend. I wonder if I could quickly find it here. Who was it? Somebody, Daryl. Damn, these are illicits. I made 2 more fans.
They are very good.
They're so good.
They tweeted at us with
they're very dangerous
grabbing
too.
that, and very dangerous. Stay tuned for the golf tournament.
Oh man, I gotta go prep my body.
Longdrink.com/Canada. Enter your postal code, find a liquor store and establishment nearest you with it in stock. We've got about 4 minutes left on the Hangout. Just to update on our top fans for the show. It does look like 75 XP you can get per hour.
Nice.
Duck Dad 4 is number 1 at the moment. Duck Dad, Bronco Nick. He's number 2. El Presidente is number 3. So that is our big uke has fallen off. Project Dumplings, Blueberry. They've all fallen off this hour after taking an early lead.
Yeah.
Eric's jumped up. He's number 11 in this one. But right now, Duck Dad, Bronco Nick, El Presidente are sitting gold, silver, bronze for the Hangout. Jonathan David's medical with Juventus scheduled for Friday.
Nice.
So getting closer to him.
Shout out to Damon Bunting from Damon Bunting Real Estate, the agency. I was with Damon and his daughter Stella yesterday at the Stingers game. Big win over Montreal. Great crowd. Awesome time. I know we have the broadcast here on EST for the Stingers, and the Riverhawks. Looked like Riverhawks was fantastic as well. Fireworks downtown was buzzing. It was good. But thanks, Damon, and I love going to those games. They're fantastic. They're just a lot of fun.
Drew Brown taking first team reps at QB for Red Blacks, according to AJ Jackie Beck. So get ready for Drew Brown here in Edmonton.
All right.
Against Trey Ford, which Belsey won't be at.
I won't.
Crazy.
No.
You're camping?
Crazy.
Or
Birthday.
just at the lake?
At a
birthday.
lake. Yeah, birthday.
Jasmine camped this past weekend, and her updates were quite funny.
That was
way.
hilarious.
And not glamped, camped.
Yeah.
Oh, how miserable was she?
Seemed like she was having a good time.
Yeah.
How drunk was she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she didn't even know what was happening.
No bottle service, though.
No.
Oh my! What is going on with Jazz? No bottle service. No glamping.
Yeah.
What?
You could not put me in a tent.
Jazz, do you need
No.
to talk? Is everything okay?
When's she in this week? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
She's just
tomorrow,
said,
Friday.
I'll tell you about it, guys, tomorrow. You guys want it tomorrow.
I love that.
This is just wild.
What are you smiling at?
No, I'm just reading the people just, Big U, Duck Dad just farming points. Someone's hacking for sure. Sus. El Presidente, what the heck? That's good at least. So I think like you could only pick up so many experience points, but the more you still go, like it takes all those people with the same experience, and it goes who's still been going. So I don't know. It's happening. And as we wrap up, congratulations, Duck Dad, on your gold medal, Bronco Nick on your silver, El Presidente on your bronze. You guys are the top fans for the Hangout for today. Round of clicks for those three.
Have we played over under?
Oh, no, we didn't do over under. Oh, thank you for reminding me. That's for Play Alberta. Download the app today. Visit them at playalberta.ca. YEG50 is the promo code right now. Deposit 5 or more. And you get a free $50 for sports bet. Over under. So there's Chris Knobloch, Glenn Gulutzan, Mark Stewart, Paul Coffey, Dustin Schwartz from last year. Over under 2.5 changes on the coaching staff going into next season.
Ooh.
Over. So 3 people, including Gulutzan.
Yeah.
That's part of it. We already have Gulutzan.
Yep, I'll go over.
Benny, you can jump in too while Belsey thinks.
I'll say under. I think Stewart and Coffee come back.
Okay.
I'm going to go with over because I think Schwartz is going to be gone.
Gulutzan's already gone.
And I think that Koff might go.
Well, just be off the bench.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That was the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. Thank you, Benny. Coming up next, it is Lock Shop, Dusty and Huss. We've got Oil Stream, EST Afternoons, Reed Wilkins Show until 6 o'clock. This is Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. On behalf of Belsey, Tommy, Benny, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Lock Shop in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go. Right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Joining us today.